On November 8th, 2022, there is going to be a lunar eclipse in Taurus. So this is going to wrap up eclipse season for the fall of 2022. So we had the solar eclipse on the 25th of October, which was a south node eclipse. So there's a lot of releasing and shedding away of old skin and shedding away of old patterns. And there's also, since it was a new moon, it's new beginnings as well, because new moons are always about initiations and, just knowing calmly, quietly, and truly what you should do and what's right for you. That's, it's internal. New moons are internal. And, there's something to be said about solar eclipses and how you shouldn't do certain things during a solar eclipse as you would a new moon. But anyway, that was that. Now I want to focus on this lunar eclipse. This is going to be a really, really big one, and I know a lot of astrologers are talking a lot about this and how, in terms of the, world astrology, mundane astrology, how the events of the world and what will be going on that day and around that time, and how, the astrology will affect that, and really how we will all be reacting and showing, and what choice do we have, and how are we going to choose to use the energies? How are we going to choose to have this grand finale? Is it going to have, it's going to be with fireworks, or is it going to be a forest that's burning? It's going to be chaotic and turbulent, and we're going to have, downturns and, negative results and difficulty and all those things. Or is it going to be a very beneficial time, fulfilling time, and really profound time for growth and change? And because it's a full moon, things come to a head. Emotions rise to the surface. And really, we can let it go. Whatever is not serving us, a pattern that's not serving us, something that we're doing that isn't serving us anymore, that doesn't work for us anymore, a certain path we may go down, that we are going down right now. But by this time, November 8th, you could decide to choose another path, to really have the full awareness with your, observer on. The astrologer and psychotherapist Deborah Silverman talks about the concept of the observer and really being aware and starting afresh and making the conscious choice to release this and to start something new. And, I like to think that while full moons are endings, they can also pave the way to new beginnings as well. So this full moon lunar eclipse, it's a total lunar eclipse. It occurs at 16 degrees of Taurus and Scorpio, and it happens 5:05 at 5:05 a.m. Central Time and 6:05 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can certainly find out when this eclipse is happening for you in your own time zone. So now what I want to do is I want to just share my screen real quick, because I want to show you just go into the science, because I'm certainly not an aficionado, and an expert into these types of things, and the technicalities, and with the details, and with the solid evidence, and really what the lunar eclipse is about. And I'm not going to go into a whole lot of depth about the astronomy of this, but I just want you to get a sense and get a clear understanding of what it is. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. So what is a lunar eclipse? So I'm just going to zoom in so that you can see this. So a lunar eclipse occurs when the sun, earth, and moon align so that the moon passes into Earth's shadow. In a total lunar eclipse, the entire moon falls within the darkest part of Earth's shadow, called the umbra. When the moon is within the umbra, it will turn a reddish hue. Lunar eclipses are sometimes called blood moons because of this phenomenon. So if you witnessed the last lunar eclipse, which happened on May 16, 2022, then you probably noticed the redness and sort of the, fiery inferno, bright, luminescent look to it. So, this really could be yet another blood moon total lunar eclipse. So, that is just a little info on that. And so I talk about, I think I mentioned this, I mentioned emotions coming to the surface. And so when emotions come to the surface, and if I haven't mentioned it, then I'm going to mention it for the first time. When the emotions come to the surface, let them out. Don't bottle them up inside and hold them in, and then wait till days, hours, years, months late. Well, and when you're watching this video, and just observe the feelings and address it, nip it in the bud, and let it out of your system. Release the emotions in a constructive way that's regulated, and that's calm, and that's conserved, and really be aware of your energy and when you're about to act impulsive or reactive to something which you feel so strongly inside of you. Take a step back, take a deep breath, calm down, and then just respond to the issue and be assertive about it, and address it, as opposed to react to it all of a sudden. Especially with Mars retrograde. I was listening to, astrology with Heather, since, Mars will be retrograde at the time of this lunar eclipse. And she was talking about the fact that, when Mars goes retrograde, you could be holding things in and then letting them out of your system, getting them out of your system, out of your mind, out of your heart, at the most inappropriate of times and, extreme circumstances, which are other than the given circumstance that you feel angry, irritated, frustrated, hurt by, however you feel, however it may affect you. And, it's important to know the right use of assertion and the right use of anger. and choose wisely. That's another thing, because when you want to initiate something and start a brand new thing, because of the excitement and the enthusiasm and, just the feeling of empowerment that you have, know what you're choosing. Choose wisely, choose consciously. Is this going to serve me? Is this really worth it? Is this worth doing? Is this worth saying? Is this going to give me the results that I want? Is this going to give me this location? All those types of questions. Is it really beneficial? And so, with the sign Taurus, Taurus has to do with values. What do you value and what's most important to you? It could be your home, it could be your family, it could be a hobby that you enjoy doing, like, me, for example. I enjoy doing these videos and having a YouTube channel and, writing about astrology, talking about it, and talking about, spirituality and all of these things that I enjoy and find interest and, feel very worthwhile to me. So really getting serious about the core values and what values, what do I need to put more value on? What do I need to focus on? And what values aren't as strong as others? What values do you value less that you need to, let go of and put on the back burner in order to focus on the more important things to you? And considering your needs, what you need, as opposed to just what you want and what you feel like you want to do at this time, because you really have to live your life and move it and take action and take the next step and be accountable and be responsible and be on top of things. And so with Scorpio, Taurus, this opposition, Sun in Taurus, Moon in Scorpio, the Sun opposite the Moon, otherwise known as the full moon, 180 degrees. Taurus is safety, Scorpio is risk. Taurus is pleasure, and Scorpio is sexual energy, delicious, passionate, primal energy. Intensity and, otherwise strength versus the calm, or the, storm versus the sunny day with the birds or the beautiful weather. Slow and steady, taking one step at a time, enjoying the, experience and putting in the quality and relaxing and taking the necessary breaks that you need in between something that you have to do for work or school, for instance. Taking one step at a time, and Scorpio is all about going all in, committing to something, being so driven and so determined that you're going to, sit, and not do anything else until this gets done. Not take the necessary things that you need, could go to the extremes of, food, water, but it could also be just getting outside, doing leisure activities, listening to music, relaxing your brain, resting your eyes, self-care, meditation, all of that. So, that's something to keep into consideration as well, because Scorpio is all or none and no mediocrity. The earthy realm, Taurus, and the underworld, Scorpio. And so Taurus is Taurus is simple, it's a fairly simple sign. Was truly, survival needs. I need food and making the most and enjoying all the things that I have, and cultivating and having gratitude, and etc. So that's Taurus. Taurus is simple, and Scorpio is the complex, the layers of the onion, the gray areas of life, going below and finding out the hidden real truth of something. It isn't just on the surface. And intimacy, Scorpio really seeing somebody at the deepest and truest level and connecting with them, having a very soulful connection with that person, versus Taurus, which is healthy boundaries and self-respect. And, another thing, just a little thing I want to mention, is trust. That if something doesn't go your way, if something doesn't happen the way that you want it to, if you put in all the work and you're not getting results, if something's taking a while, then know that it is, just to trust and divine timing, and know that everything has a reason, and know that spirit or the divine or higher power, whatever you consider it, really knows what's right for you. But the question is, can you surrender to that higher force, spirit in life? And during this, especially during this lunar eclipse as well. And so with the moon in Taurus, it's all about enjoying the finer things in life. Food, your covers that you sleep in, your home, the clothes that you're wearing, the carpet on the floor, the feeling your toes, feeling your hands, connecting with the people that you live with, family, nature. As I'm looking outside, I can see red leaves on a bush that represent the fall. So all that is simple and there for you in the present moment, that you can breathe and step into reality, where you can taste, touch, feel, smell, hear. You're really activating all the five senses and giving yourself permission to indulge in food as well. And really enjoying the experience of that, and being present and allowing it to nourish you and fill up your body and soul as well. So, and and self-love is another theme with Taurus. Knowing that you are worthy, knowing that you are enough, knowing that you have the power to manifest or create whatever you want to whatever you feel you need to, and does it feel authentically and spiritually, authentic inside of you. And so, we could ask the question, what is inner peace? What is security? What do I need to feel secure? Do I need to have all these material possessions around me? Or looking inside myself and trusting myself and experiencing inner wealth and being okay with whatever the situation is, and stepping into the power of acceptance. Of course, take care of an issue if you can control it, but then know when to stop and just be honest and just again, surrender. And especially with Jupiter retrograde in Pisces, there's real power in surrender, knowing that you're not a victim, and tapping into those spiritual energies. So the aspects for this lunar eclipse, the Sun and Mercury are conjuncting. So this is a great time where you're going to probably be feeling very mental, very alert. Your mind is very sharp, where you can think, you can communicate with other people, you can get to know other people, collaborate on a certain issue. Intellectually stimulate and be intellectually stimulated by so many things, by other people, by videos, by books, to communicate, verbally, and also through the written word as well. It's also a great time to do, to have present a speech, and to put yourself out there and to communicate what you need to communicate, and and showing that intellectual interest in things, and also getting out and exploring new things, new places, getting to know new people. That's what that's about. Then, the big thing, the real big aspect for this lunar eclipse is the fact that the moon and Uranus are coming into an exact conjunction. And so when the moon, which is your emotions and what you need to feel emotionally nourished and secure, and Uranus, which is all about breaking free, being liberated, feeling like you are on cloud nine of, really where you can revolutionize and innovate. And so when the moon comes together with Uranus, any limiting belief, limiting, structure, system, activity, philosophy, opinion, viewpoint about something. Maybe it's a job that you're taking that you feel like you're holding yourself back. Maybe it's, family and you feeling, inhibited and restrained and you can't really express yourself. Same goes with, romantic relationships as well. And there could be some change in those areas, and you might feel the calling to make a sudden change because Uranus is sudden. It's just, abrupt. So, allow yourself to make those changes and, express yourself. And, by no means when I do these videos am I telling you what to do. But now, you can express yourself and maybe, do something you haven't done before, explore something. Stand apart from the crowd. Standing apart from the crowd and going on a new path is another aspect of this. Same thing, just different wording. And so all this information comes together and makes, all these astrological, transits, planetary transits, and full moons, new moons, and lunar eclipses, solar eclipses, all occur for a reason and are great opportunities if we can, make the most of it and see it in that way, and evolve and use the energy, use the event productively, and to take advantage of it and apply it to your life. And not that you have to live fully by it, but it's just invitations, it's offerings, it's opportunities, but it certainly is not the cosmos dictating you of how to live your life. So this is my video on the lunar eclipse in Scorpio 2022. Lunar eclipse in Taurus on November 8th, 2022. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.